Ciao. One of radio's trailblazing announcers introduces what he calls...
Two for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Allison Sheridan is here with us, everybody. Allison Sheridan, she of the Nosilla cast, Nosilla, Nosilla, which is podcast spelled backwards.
I should never be in charge of naming anything.
Yeah, me neither. So when I had Rob Walsh on this show, he was like, don't be clever with your name. I'm like, oh, are you saying In a Few Minutes was a bad name for a technology show? Yeah, it turns out kinda. I was thinking about something before we get to today's topic, because of course it is Monday on this show. Yeah, it's Monday everywhere, but it's Monday on this show, which means it is news to Allison. Allison Sheridan has a story that she's going to share with us in a moment. But first, I'm not like on a mission to get you to like music, because that sounds foolish. I'm wondering though, are you a fan of Devo?
I've seen videos. I know what they look like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recognize the music if you played it for me.
Really? All right.
No. But I don't notice that music is playing.
Okay.
That's another thing. Like people will be in a mall or something and somebody say, oh, remember this song? And now really there was, and when they say it, then I go, oh, look, there is music. It's like, it just doesn't exist.
All right.
As a general rule. I'm
going to keep doing something else. What about Weezer?
I've heard of Weezer.
The reason I was thinking about them is because they have sort of what I think would appeal maybe to an engineer's mind kind of thing. Now, their music is wildly different, but apparently Weezer writes based on a formula. And I thought that might be the kind of thing that you would think into you, but maybe it's a formula that doesn't work on engineers. Maybe it just works for engineers. I don't know.
I mean, you're talking to someone who eats their meals on a schedule. Steve and I have eaten the same scheduled meals for decades. Like every Monday is always the same meal. So I do appreciate that sort of thing.
You know, we kind of have that here, although we really messed it up this week and changed things. And I'm pretty sure now other people in the house have no idea what day it is anymore. Because the thing that we normally have on Thursday, we switched out. And then we're having the thing that we normally have on Thursday tonight. But then we're switching back to it again next Thursday. I think we're really just looking to throw everybody's world off kilter. Right. So Monday is the time on the show where I try to not do anything. And so now you know why I have a bone to pick with you. Monday is supposed to be It's News to the Guest. And the guest, you know, brings us an idea for a story. The guest tells us about the story. And then we talk about the story. And Allison Sheridan sent me a video to watch and an article to read for what is news to her. I feel like now it's news to me, but, you know, whatevs. When I say it's news to Allison, Allison Sheridan says,
well, I'm excited about a story that I'm unqualified to describe. Dr. Kiki Sanford explained this on the Daily Tech News show this last week. So when you're done hearing me make a hash of it, go look for show 3952 of the Daily Tech News show. But anyway, the story that she talked about was a story of China having just completed a 4,600 kilometer quantum network. Now, I took quantum mechanics in college as an engineer, and it didn't take to it much. But have you ever heard the concept of some things like light? When you observe them, they actually change their behavior. Have you ever heard of that? Of the quantum, what is it? The split light experiment, where if you observe it, it actually changes its behavior. The
act of observing a thing changes the thing being observed, or something like that?
Yeah. Yes. So if you understand that basic idea, or believe it, would be even better. This network that they've created is a fiber optic network, and it can communicate securely between different cities, this giant distance. This is actually being used between real businesses doing real work now. The important piece of it is that they're using an encryption method called quantum key distribution. So they're taking these photons that they're shoving down this fiber optic network, and they know what the spin of each one of those photons of light is. And if when the photons get to the other end, the spin has changed, then you know it has been observed. You know that the data has been compromised. So it's a way of actually having a secure communication simply by looking at the spin of the photons when they get to the other end and making sure they haven't changed. So this is something that's been theoretical for a long time, and China has been working really hard on this, and they're way ahead of us. I mean, just miles ahead ahead of us. We're nowhere near being able to do this. And they'd done it before up to satellites, and they'd done about 2,000 kilometers, I think it was. Now they've done this. It was 2,600 kilometers in 2016 by satellite. And so I thought that was really cool. So that was news to me.
Okay.
Doesn't that sound nifty?
Well, I mean, it sounds fairly cool. The problem that I have is I immediately start like, how do we know? I mean, honestly, that's the question. How do we know? I mean, I know that scientists will say, well, scientifically, this is a thing. Okay. But then 5 years down the road, 10 years, 20, however many it takes for this to get out to everyone. How do I know that my stuff is actually being protected that way? Because between you sending your message and me receiving your message is whatever, device you're using, whatever service you're using, however it gets into that pipeline, whatever government, whatever the receiving computer says. And is there no way to just trick it? So you say, oh, no, just go ahead and tell them it's the same spin. It's not really, but go ahead and tell them it's the same spin. I mean, it seems to me that there are various points of potential points of failure there. Or am I overthinking it?
But how do you know when somebody says, okay, your traffic to this service has got AES 256-bit encryption? How does Ken know?
Well, he doesn't.
Right.
But I mean, that's the thing. But you trust that stuff at some point, I suppose.
I believe it's knowable.
Okay.
Let me put it this way. It's knowable. It's not knowable by me, but this would be knowable.
Yeah. No. I mean, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying I don't buy it. I'm saying on a practical level, like, how is it knowable by us? Or is it one of those things where we just have to kind of trust?
We'd have to understand the physics behind it. But one of the big things that I didn't mention here is this is considered uncrackable.
Right.
And you might say, oh, yeah, but it's always crackable. Well, you have to actually defy the laws of physics to crack it.
Right.
So, and Dr. Kiki would like to hear from you if you know how to do that.
Yeah, that was cute. I actually did watch that portion of the show in preparation for this show, which,
did do work.
I'm still a little annoyed. I guess the thing, and maybe I've been too long doing the checklist. The thing that I have is, okay, well, that's great, but I'm still, I don't know. I mean, it's wonderful, and I don't want to poo-poo the whole thing. What I'm trying to figure out is, like, do we do this before or after we figure out how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? Because so China now can talk to China, which is great. Honestly, I would imagine it's the Pentagon that's a little bit worried about this, and the Kremlin or whatever they have there these days. I would imagine it's world governments that are actually upset by this because suddenly, it makes the Enigma machine look like a 1, 2, 3, 4 password. If there's no way that we can check on that, then all of a sudden we have this cryptography arms race that so far China's in the lead.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to be worried about there.
Oh, well, good then. Was there any other news that you wanted to talk about? Because we're near the end of this, I think. Really?
That was my big story. That's your big story.
No, it's a great story. Really it's a wonderful story. It leaves us a little short. Here's what I'm saying. Weezer tailors their music.
I don't know what a Weezer is.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I know it really upsets you. And I find this, it's most fascinating to me how many people try to convince me to like their music. I was talking to a friend of mine about some music, and I said, well, I actually saw the music video for that. And when I've seen the music video, then the music becomes interesting to me. I do like that. Mm-hmm. And immediately she wanted to start sending me like videos from concerts she's been to.
Yeah. No, don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to get you to. It's just, and it's ridiculous to have thought that there is a type of music that you hadn't mentioned that you actually are into, because I know we've had this discussion a few times. If Weezer had spoken to you, I think you would say, well, I mean, I love Weezer, of course, but after that, no, not so much. Or, can't remember the other band I said a minute ago. Like, I would think They Might Be Giants would appeal to you because they're so nuts. But, so probably you would have mentioned them too. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Ken. Yeah.
If I told you I was colorblind.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but have you tried green?
Continually were saying, have you seen a sunset? Like, you could see that, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's just the bits aren't there. They just aren't.
Yeah, I understand. What about Earth, Wind, and Fire?
So the first I danced to an Earth, Wind, and Fire song with Steve on our 6-month dating anniversary.
Oh,
and I have a
nice.
special spot in my heart for one of those songs.
Okay. Oh,
Steve was really into it.
that's lovely. That's lovely. Well, now I'm not mad at having watched this video that we were able to talk about for 3 minutes.